Good evening. This is Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. Welcome to A Course in Miracles group with Glenda and I, Glenda and the group. I'm located in Florida, and welcome to everybody wherever you all are. It's great via Zoom. Hi there, it's Evie. Evie, I didn't welcome you. Welcome, Evie. And Peter and Christian and Brian, welcome, welcome. Now what we'll do first, first, because we're going to meditate, I want to show you these two illustrations. Because now that I've had the Great Ray experience, then I meditate, I do a meditation using the Great Ray, and Dee Bowman, is it Bowman or Bowman? Bowman? She has a book, I Am Discourses. I'm going to show you. I have the book too. I Am Discourses, the I Am Discourses, Volume 3. It's a channeled book from Saint Germain, who talked with the Mr. and Mrs. Ballard, I think they are, in the 1930s, 1930, 31, 32. And as a result of that channeling, there were more than 30 books. But this volume 3, why Dee brought it up, it has a photo in a chart that this man had them. See, I've got sun, I'm looking at out the west window. So Dee will bring it up, and I've got a diagram here. I'm going to show you the picture. It reminded Dee about this chart, and I realized this chart could help you all in your visualization when you meditate. So first I'm going to share the screen and and find my pictures. Okay. Now, how come? Let's see. I want to share. Nope, that's not it. Stop sharing. I want to see my menu bar, which disappeared at the bottom of my screen. Share screen. Let's try it one more time. Basic files. Let's see if I can find it from there. Files. No. Basic. Well, guys, see, I'm a novice and newbie at all this stuff. I had those photos, and I'm afraid to get out of my screen here. Oh, look, I found it. Okay, I found something. Let's see if I can get in here. All right, let's call up pictures. See if I can set the pictures here. Now that they're here. Oh, look, pictures. Ha, here we go. Thanks, Holy Spirit. All right, let's see if we can get some pictures here. All right, now here's the one that's in this I Am book. So the Mr. and Mrs. Ballard had somebody draw this based on what Saint Germain told them. And here it is. So, and in this I Am Discourses, they talk about the Great Rays, and they talk about the ascension, which Jesus does in A Course in Miracles. That's the purpose of us doing our true forgiveness, so we can ascend up this ladder to our full enlightenment. So at the bottom, this would be the self, this figure at the bottom. And they're just kind of showing around the heart, there's a circle, there's a heart I guess a chakra, but Jesus doesn't talk about that, but it's just the heart, represents love's presence. And then around the head, can you all hear me okay? Around the head is this light, that's God's presence that's there that we're not aware of. That is there. Besides this white that's there is the great ray. The darkness, as far as I understand it, is these egoic thoughts. We're going to, with forgiveness, ascend up and see the very top. You can't, I magnified it a little. There's like, the heart or love's presence opens up. And then I guess the throat area opens up where you can speak the truth or know the truth. But then the bigger deal is the mind becomes enlightened. And that's how you see all this pure light around this person's head that's radiating out. But when you meditate, just pick, this is an actual, that book, and Jesus talks about there's an actual great ray that connects you to eternity, and visualize yourself ascending up. The purpose is we become enlightened. So we want to see ourselves as enlightened and saying, I am God's presence. I am the love of God. Those are these positive things that you really are, that you are ascending to. Now, I want to show you, see, this only had two of them. And then let's see now if I can get this X'd out here. There's another picture. This one came from the lightsummit.org, something like that. Next week, I'll show you this link. But look, it's got there's the person in the bottom. In the middle, that's really Jesus or your higher Christ self. And at the top is your ascended, enlightened person. And this is the first time I've ever seen an example, because the Course, and I think I've said to you all before, that Jesus says he is the go-between, that the distance is so far that we seem to have dropped down the ladder. The distance is so vast, we could not span it by ourselves, that he is the go-between, that he helps rise us up faster than we could if we do our forgiveness work. And then he works with Holy Spirit. So there he is. Don't you love it? He's in the middle. He's helping us go up the ladder to ascend to our full enlightenment. So you can do, I like picturing the one that's in the middle, but you can do either one of them, because just call on Jesus and Holy Spirit, to help you ascend and remember what you are, because this is the purpose, remember what you are. So if you want, what we'll do, let's meditate now and use one of these two diagrams for your visualization. So just relax and take 3 breaths in and out, pause between them to relax yourself if needed. And now I want you to visualize, and this I Am Discourse says the same thing. Above your head is a huge sun. And what that is the presence of God. The I Am presence of God is above your head. And it's representative of this huge sun and the rays emitting from it. And each of us have a great ray. It's a column of light, a pillar of light. And don't you know, this book says it's a tube of light. They don't call it column or pillar, but I put that word in because I wanted to help you visualize it surrounds you, but it's a tube. It's a great ray connecting you to I Am God presence. It surrounds you, and it's here day and night, even though you don't realize it's there. And that light is so loving, pristine, warm. You want to join with it. But before you do, I want you to see in your mind an altar and put on that altar the things you think you need to be happy. and then see that altar and your body disappear into the light, into that light that surrounds you, into that, even you can look above your head. And now, oh, now I want you to just like turn your head and look up, put your face and turn it up, and imagine that you are looking into this, not just a sun, but a sun that has like 1,000 suns of brilliant light. That light is there beaming down on you. It's so warm, so loving. Just look up at it and just realize it's there. And you can and recognize you want to claim that light, that your heart, the love that you are, wants to claim that light. And you just accept that light and join with it. And we'll just sit and join with that light for a couple of minutes. And when you're in that light, joined with that light, say to yourself, I am God's presence. I am the love of God, and you are. That is your true self. There's only God. God is. And that we know that's true. There's only God. So each of those arcs or sparks of light, you are everything. It contains everything. God, you are God's presence. You are the love's presence. Just rest in that knowing. Okay, when you want, you just come back to this time and place and can visualize this. And I'm going to send it the JPEG in a picture for you. And let's see. How do I stop share? Come back to us. Okay, we're back. Hi, everybody. Okay, now I want to invite in Holy Spirit, Jesus, Buddha, enlightened beings, ascended masters, help us, guide us, what to do or say, and to have fun. Thank you, thank you. Now let's see if we got a chat. See if I can see chat. Oh, somebody wanted to make something bigger. Well, I don't know if I can. I'll send you the JPEG, and then you can make it bigger on your computer. I'll do it when I'm okay. Dee, if you see something in chat I need to look at, will you let me know? And you're okay. So this, all right. So, so next week, I've looked with my DVD, looked through the course for all the places in the course it says I am. And I'm going to condense that and do a thing with the charts about this claiming that is so powerful, this positive, that the most positive thing you can say to yourself, because like in the course, it says, I'm not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. Look at that one lesson. There's 3 I ams. I am not a body, I am free, for I'm still as God created me. And when I was looking that up today, that I am, that goes from lesson, I forget if it's 202 to 220. That's why it's so important. Jesus has that baby like 20 consecutive lessons. I'm not a body, I'm free, for I'm still as God created me. So, but he uses the I am in other ways. But anyway, we're going to be talking about that next week. But this week is this continuation of the last 2 weeks before, or 3 weeks before, were 2 weeks we did miracles, then we did revelation. Revelation is when you recognize and acknowledge that you're one with God in just an instant. Knowing that you're one with God is revelation, the joining of that in just a second. And but that brought up then me looking and finding lesson 167, 168, 169, which 167 says there's one life and that I share with God. 168 is your grace is given me. I claim it now. There's that word claim. And I looked up the word claim. So that's going to be incorporated with I am for next week. And then lesson 169, by grace I live, by grace I am released. All three of these lessons, what they're trying to get us to, Jesus is trying to get us to do, is first to recognize what is true life. True life is God only. Not this life we seem to have here in the illusion, even though we never ever put our form or body in harm's way. This is not life. It's the mind sleeping. So we're just going to go through 167 is he covers, well, when I look at these and look back on what's happened to me, I have, and I think all of you too have faith that there is God. There is God and he is love. And from him is our source, our life. So where did this other stuff come from? And now you're adjusting to that you've made it up, that you're dreaming a dream. It's hallucination kind of thing. So this is kind of taking you through that. Okay, so I'm just going to cover here. This is lesson 167. There are not different kinds of life, for life is like the truth. It does not have degrees. It is the one condition in which all that God created share. Like all his thoughts, it has no opposite. There is no death because an opposite of God does not exist. There is no death because the Father and the Son are one. And obstacles to peace are recognizing that there is no death and then your fear of God. But this whole lesson is wanting you to think about why this is an illusion, is there's life can't have varying emotions, varying feelings. So he goes on and says, in this world, there appears to be a state that is life's opposite. You call it death. Yet we have learned that the idea of death takes many forms. It is the one idea which underlies all feelings that are not supremely happy. It is the alarm. Remember, we say how you know who you're thinking with is how you feel. Here, Jesus says your feelings can be an alarm to which you give response of any kind that's not perfect joy. So here are the alarm feelings: sorrow, loss, anxiety, suffering, pain. And he says, even a little sigh of weariness, a slight discomfort, or the merest frown. Go figure, I frowned some. Acknowledge death, because when I'm doing any of those feelings, I'm not feeling joyous. And like Jesus explains to us, just a minor irritation is just as bad as outright anger because it's separation. So he's getting us in the first half of the workbook to recognize what ego is. So here he's saying, here's your alarm bells, your feelings. sorrow, loss, anxiety, suffering, pain, even a little sigh of weariness, a slight discomfort, or the merest frown, acknowledge death. And thus you deny you live. So in this I Am Discourse book, but also the course, now that I've looked at that little book, what Jesus is wanting you to do is to affirm these things that you really are. So if you catch yourself saying, oh, I feel sick today, or I acknowledge like I have a knee that had an ACL tear. So I'm realizing when I even have a thought about that knee, I go, oh no, oh no. And that light of the great ray, visualize that light like you're in a hologram, that great ray is a hologram. It's just brilliant light radiating everywhere. Like now through you, that light is just radiating. There's only light. So you really, the form is like a faint image, but you want to visualize that light of love and God's presence is going through those cells of your body, like even the knee, even though it's an illusion, that can, in the illusion, be magic to heal and cause less pain in that knee or whatever you're doing, because you're thinking you are light and you're using that light to go through your form. Now you can ask Holy Spirit how you're best to do it. And I think Gary Renard talks in one of his books about Art and Person, explained that to him about seeing the light radiate through his form, through whatever was going on, and him acknowledging the light. But while you practice this, you can practice forgiveness, where you say to yourself that statement of forgiveness for ourselves, which is, I am, look at that again, I am a mortal spirit. This body is a false image and has nothing to do with what I am. And look at that sentence, it's got two I ams in it. Don't you love this? Now that I recognize what's going on, that's so huge, because your unconscious is getting adjusted every time you say that to yourself. You are the I am. You are the I am. God's presence is what that means. You are everything, total love, total. It's just so beautiful how all this ties together. So he's explaining here about how your thoughts and feelings, your feelings tell you who you're thinking with, and you choose again to think with Holy Spirit. And think about this life, this light, L-I-G-H-T, that's here now. So I'll just go back through here. So paragraph 3, this is really an important paragraph, because he says here, you think that death is of the body, yet it is but an idea, irrelevant to what it is seen as physical. A thought is in the mind. It can be then applied as mind directs it, but its origin is where it must be changed. So that's if change occurs. That's what Jesus is having us do. Look at the thoughts that are in our mind, because he's saying here in this lesson, the origin is in the mind, the thought you have. Ideas leave not their source. The emphasis this course is placed on that idea is due to its centrality in our attempts to change your mind about yourself. So ideas leave not your source. So the one mind that seems to be split, even though it's not, we're safe at home in heaven, dreaming a dream of exile, but perfectly capable of awakening to our true reality, which is a holy Son of God, one with God in heaven, now, right now. But so ideas leave not their source. Then he goes on to the next paragraph to say, if we believe in death, then what that's saying, it's a fixed belief. Ideas can leave their source and go out there and make something physical. Well, what we're doing here is Jesus is reasoning with us. And then you ultimately learn to reason with yourself that, hold it, that's a body, seems to be out there. It's a thought in my mind. I still practice, and when I look back what's happened to me, you practice on what shows up in front of your face, this true forgiveness. Then you slowly come back to your mind to realize it's your thoughts in your mind that you projected that image. That's a dream figure. But he's getting you to see, first you practice forgetting their immortal spirit. They're not a body, they are free. And you'll end up coming back to your mind and having true perspective and figuring out you're the cause. Your mind's the cause of these images. And then paragraph 6 says the mind can think it sleeps, but that is all. It cannot change what is its waking state. It cannot make a body nor abide within a body. What is alien to the mind does not exist because it has no source. Now, I've never really thought about it this way, and this maybe would have helped me along the way. I think would have helped me if I thought, well, ego, what's the source of ego? Where did it come from? Well, it came from made up in my mind. It has no eternal source like God is our source. So ask yourself where, that makes you then come back to your mind and think about, I'm going to change my thoughts, like chapter 31. I'm going to choose to think with Holy Spirit and think these holy thoughts. But again, if the body's in harm's way, we are practical, we are normal. We seek, like I still would seek medical advice. And Jesus says the word compromise once in the course. That's where we use magic things like medical meds or doctors to help us along the way till we have total control of our mind. And I'm not there yet. So I do my virtual doctor visit. I take my cholesterol and thyroid pill. And while I'm doing it, though, I'm practicing forgiveness on myself. I'm not a body. I'm free from still as God created me, but I am not going to jeopardize the form, because like Gary Renard said, he had a couple of his friends think they could heal themselves and they ended up dying. That's the worst example, but I'm just explaining perspective. I do not present that we do not use magic as a compromise when the form needs something. And that brings up about COVID. And I want to take a moment and think with Holy Spirit about our brothers who seem to be in duress and not do not feel like they're their immortal spirit. We see them as whole, pure, and innocent, regardless of how these things look. And then I'm going to stop and have I think Dee brought up an example of this, because the Course teaches us we think of our brother as whole, pure, and innocent. We do not think of them as ill or sick, but yet we would never say that to them when you're talking to a person. You still have empathy, but while you're with them, your practice of forgiveness silently in your mind that they are spirit, whole, pure, and innocent, not always forgiven and released. Now, Dee, do you mind sharing what you said about your friend?
No, but when I talk in public, my mouth gets dry and I get nervous.
Oh, well, no worries. Thank you. Does this bother you?
No, I'm okay. I was telling Troy and Glenda earlier that I have a friend who is very sick. She's very ill. I picture her as very ill, and we're the whole group of friends. We're praying constantly on it, and I realized that I never listened to like, I'll say, Holy Spirit, what am I supposed to do here? Like, give me a hand, help me out. And he said, whoever said, you never wait for the answer. You walk away. You think it's just going to pop into your head and you could go do your body stuff. And I'm just going to, pop into your head over there, take your time. So as I did do a meditation, and that's what I heard, that she is whole, pure, and innocent. She is healthy. She is strong, and she's well. And that's what I realized, that I really was picturing her in ICU on a ventilator, 5 weeks. I pictured all this horrible stuff. So I was telling my girlfriends that we are all going to now picture her well, strong, and healthy. And as we did that, we did it for a day. We all promised that we would. And the next day she was pulled from the ventilator, and as she gets up and out of a chair, and that's how we have to see it. I think that's how we have to see ourselves and other people, because that, you know, that is us that we're seeing sick.
So thank you, Dee, because
Well,
two
that's just
things
great.
two things you did were so powerful. You asked Holy Spirit's advice, but then you went on with your daily mortal stuff and didn't wait for the answer. So this complies with all of us. Just pause to see if you hear the answer, or actually, when you meditate, wait and pause for the answer. And Holy Spirit told her, hold it, you're going away for I can give you the answer. And the answer is you see her whole, pure, and innocent. You don't see her as sick. And that's the I am course. Discourses says you use these affirmations. I am God's presence. I am God's love. And the bottom line by me, you talking about that book, it made me go back to the course and recognize and reaffirm that's what Jesus is saying. And that's what true forgiveness means. We look beyond the body. Remember, that was this Christ's vision has one law. It does not look upon a body and mistake it for the Son of God, Son whom God created. It beholds a light beyond the body, an idea beyond what can be touched, a purity undimmed by errors, pitiful mistakes, and fearful thoughts of guilt from dreams of sin. It sees no separation, and it looks on everyone, on every circumstance, all happenings, all events, without the slightest fading of the light it sees. Now, what's difficult is immortal spirit is invisible. So, like, remember I say, we fake it till we make it. You just look like I'm going to look out my window. I'm going to look past some tables and flowers and trees to that invisible immortal spirit that's here. I just know it's there. And that's in an holy instant. You have done something you didn't do for thousands of years in your other lifetimes. Or even think about the last 30 years of your life that before you went back into practicing A Course in Miracles or found A Course in Miracles, you never thought about people as immortal spirit. We weren't taught this because this is the highest teaching masterpiece that I know of that Jesus has here. We look at our brother for what he really is, immortal spirit. That is true forgiveness. So thank you, Dee, because we can't get away from the appearances of COVID on the TV or any of this stuff. So as soon as you can, catch your thought and think about the person as holy, pure, and innocent, and healed and perfect. Now, you can say healed and whatever, but don't set yourself up to think that the outside circumstance may change in the physical world, because that's not what Jesus is practicing here. It may change or it may not. And we practice on our own self, or heal our own mind, and use that light to go through the cells in the illusion of our own form. And it may work or it may not on us too. Okay, I don't know what I agreed to in this script and my different dimensions. I'm just going to practice, what the loftiest things I can think of. So thanks, Dee. Then this lesson 167, how are we doing on time? I even lost my clock. What? 7:42. I'm afraid to get out and come back in, guys. This lesson in 167 says, God creates only mind awake. He does not sleep, and his creations cannot share what he gives not, nor make conditions which he does not share with them. And then here, next paragraph, what seems to be the opposite of life is merely sleeping. When the mind elects to be what it is not, see, you're a mind, in a mind, purely mind, and God is God mind, and that's what you live in, God mind. Now, mind is the energizing or activating agent of spirit. So you use the mind to think these holy thoughts and ask Holy Spirit, help me, guide me what to do or say. And when you're thinking about Holy Spirit, you're thinking spirit. When you think about true forgiveness about your brother, you are spirit. That's why in that sentence it says, I have you say you are spirit, whole, pure, and innocent, all is forgiven and released. And in the one for you, I am immortal spirit. This word spirit is huge because the mind will end up activating spirit. And in that column, that great ray column, you will ascend up this ladder to the spirit of your true self, which is this light, this brilliant light, immortal spirit. That's your true self. So, but Jesus is saying you're merely sleeping. When the mind elects to be what it's not, it assumes an alien power, which it does not have, a foreign state it cannot enter, or a false condition not within its source. It merely seems to go to sleep a while. It dreams of time, an interval in which what seems to happen never has occurred. The changes wrought are substanceless, and all events are nowhere. When the mind awakes, it but continues as it always was. So you're just getting comfortable with, I'm the mind, that part of the mind seems to be asleep. It just seems to be asleep. And that's what Jesus calls it, a dream, because it never really happened. We just are making these images up. Then it continues in that 167. The last sentence is, for the wakened mind is one that knows its source, itself, its holiness. So in that chart, when you ascend to the I am God presence, you know your source, you know yourself, and you know your holiness. But along the way, you're practicing that you're a holy son of God, you're the face of Christ, etc. Boy, this Jesus guy, didn't he know what he was doing when he wrote this book? These are our lessons. Now, the lesson 168, your grace is given me. I claim it now. Oh, so I love that word now, claim. I claim it now. Oh, it's so great. That's why when you look up in the great ray, the tube of light, you in one of these sentences, oh God, let's see if I can find it. You claim, the heart claims the light. Wonder where that one. Geez, I'm sorry, I can't find it. But it is in one of these lessons. It says, the heart claims the light. The heart rises up and claims the light. So when you look up in that column of light, just like your face, you just feel that hot sun on you. That's your spirit. That's your light, your true self. That is the light that you're going to claim. So you claim it. You claim that light. I am that light. That is God's presence. I am God's presence. And in that, you're also you are able to do that because by grace, you are light. You are love. That is your natural self, your natural being. You need to do nothing to have that except claim it, acknowledge it, and be with it. And like I said, just fake it till you make it. You're like claiming that light. You're claiming that holiness. He says here, he loves you still, even when you seem to be asleep. And when your mind awakes, he loves you with a never changing love. If you but knew the meaning of his love, hope and despair would be impossible. His grace is his answer to all your despair, for in it lies remembrance of his love. So just picture that light is also love, your love self, love's presence. That light is just soaked with love. It is just though you just now there was one other one here that just now this was shocking to me, because it was Troy that said she thought had experienced revelation when I knew nothing about it, and now realize, yeah, I guess that's true. Because once you join with that light and your arc of light's released, and you see, boy, when I say to you that 1,000 suns of light, that's what you want to imagine. The light is just brilliant, pristine. It's just so, it's just so warm. And that warmth is the love. But in that lesson 168, I found I never ever understood what the final step, the final step that God takes. I thought that was just, yeah, right. I had never thought that was actually something was going to happen. But here in one of these, oh, here it's lesson 168, paragraph 3. Um, Today we ask of God the gift he has most carefully preserved within our hearts, waiting to be acknowledged. This is the gift by which God leans to us and lifts us up, taking salvation's final step himself. All steps but this we learn, instructed by his voice. But finally he comes himself and takes us in his arms and sweeps, I could cry, and sweeps away the cobwebs of our sleep. His gift of grace is more than just an answer. It restores all memories the sleepy mind forgot, all certainty of what love's meaning is. And in the next paragraph is where he says, as hearts rise up and claim the light as theirs, and forgiveness is the way. But that's lesson 168, guys. What he's describing there, he takes you in his arms. It's not literally, but it's this great ray business, and sweeps away the cobwebs of your sleep. So remember, I talk about the great ray and that paragraph in the text that talks about you have found your brother and you will light each other's way. And from that light, the great rays will extend back into darkness and forward unto God to shine away the past and make room for his eternal presence in which everything's radiant in the light. So that sentence about that they come in and extend back into darkness to shine away the past. Look, here's another way of saying it. It sweeps away the cobwebs of our sleep. So that great ray comes in, will come in your mind and sweep away these cobwebs and thoughts of the past, of judgment, and restore all memories the sleepy mind forgot. And then when it goes forward unto God, it makes room for his eternal presence. And what he's doing, which this is God doing this evidently. Now, I still am in shock over it, but this is what Jesus is saying here. Sometimes he's symbolic about this God business. So I don't know. It still could be symbolic. But then that forgiveness work removes these thoughts of separation, which allows for the remember in the introduction, it says the blocks to your awareness of love's presence will be removed. Well, your forgiveness work is doing that. So then this great ray also comes in and goes out and restores your memory of the love you are, and love's presence is revealed, is opened up in your mind. I mean, there it is. I mean, it's shocking to me, and that's salvation's last step. But it's nothing to be scared of because I never knew what that meant. And then in lesson 168, paragraph 6, he says, and he descends to meet us as we come to him. So when you see the great ray, you're wanting to go ascend up. So see, he descends, meaning God, as we come up to him. So it's a big deal that you're claiming and you're thinking you want to go up this ladder and you're going to the light. Remember, in one of the lessons also says, just take your hand and move the clouds away. And he says, Jesus says, enter into the light, be lifted up into the light. And so he descends to meet you. And what he has prepared for us, he gives and we receive. Your grace is given you. Your grace is given me. This is a prayer. I claim it now. Father, I come to you, and you will come to me who ask. I am the son you love. So It's simple. Remember about I explained, you don't have to believe these things or understand them, just say them. And your unconscious will believe this. And because you want to ascend and be with God in your mind. Of course, we're already at home in heaven, but we're dreaming we're not there. So this is enlightenment. Oneness is simply the idea that God is, and that's in lesson 169. And we're at 7:54, so I should stop. So we'll continue with lesson 169 next week, and with the I am places that I am is in the course. And I'll repeat this next week, but because I prepare to do this talk, I'm researching in the course, and I'm asking Holy Spirit to help me. And look what he guided us to do: discuss miracles 2 weeks. Then Troy brought up Revelation. We talk about Revelation. Then that brought up grace. And then Dee brought up the I am discourses to me and this diagram. And with that, I bought that I am book, and so I'm reading it and thinking of the things Jesus says along with it. And I started practicing saying, I am God's presence. I am God's love. And anymore, like during the day and the night, I'll wake up every couple hours in the night. And what I do is I go to that great ray. I just acknowledge that great way, and I join with it. And then I have a friend that recognizes I'm joining with the great ray. I'm not kidding. This holy relationship. And we then meditate, and Holy Spirit, the great ray, will come in and go out various times. But every 2 or 3 hours, I'm thinking about joining with a light for only a few minutes, guys. You don't have to meditate for hours. And then I'll go back to sleep, etc. And then during the day, I think about, and I'll say, I am God's presence. And that I am book says to picture that radiance coming off your face, because your mind is right here above your head. Your mind is like one big, it's endless, but we'll just picture it's a big, that golden circle around your head, your mind, that you've ascended into, God's presence. I'm saying this, I am God's presence when I walk. I am God's love. And so this morning, what I'm getting at, I was meditating in that holy relationship with a joined mind. 2 minds were joined. And I am not kidding you. And I remember I had been looking at these charts going, oh, that's Jesus. That's what Jesus said right there in the middle. They talk about this heart chakra, and I don't pay attention to the heart chakra because I figure it's part of the body. Well, I guess in this ascension business, the heart space opens regardless of where it is. Do you know that I felt here in my chest this space open, and it lifted, opened, and my back and part of me lifted up, raised up. And then this light, or this raising up, this has just continued up my mind. And I kind of thought about, oh, I must be ascending up the ladder some more. And I forget to mention to you all that my ears pop and I have to yawn because to equalize pressure in my head, and Holy Spirit tells me, because I'm ascending up the ladder, the pressure's different. As we ascend up, we raise up, rise up, etc. Now, each person experiences different things. I'm just clarifying with you, this experience that I had is love's presence. That chart showing that your love, this circle of light appears here. So I guess when we're walking around, besides the great ray, your heart's open, your mind's open, your hands are vibrating light, your feet got the light going out into the earth. You are just one big light. It's so cool. It's all I'm trying to explain. This is a mystical experience. And I don't know what each person goes through. I'm just covering this part.
That's pretty cool, Glenda. Can I say something?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, like I can relate. Like I haven't really been joining with the light as much for like say about a few years, but I'm starting again now. And but I know what you're talking about because I had a friend that can like see auras and stuff too. And I used to bartend. He was a pretty bigwig dude guy, but he like could see the energy fields, right? And I was doing like the course workbook and really joining and like taking like 30 minutes at least in the morning and 30 at night. And I would just like be joining with God and stuff. And he would notice right away. Like as soon as he would see me, he would say, "You're looking pretty good," you know. And I'd be like, "Thanks." But when I really did it a lot, like when I was really like very consistent daily, and he saw me again after like a 3-month period because it was a hotel. He would say one day he was like, "You're leaving the light all over the room and all over all the people, and you're leaving it." And some people, they won't even realize that light that you're leaving on them until maybe many years down the road when they might recall or remember why or what the purpose was of it. It's the Holy Spirit, whatever reason that it had for that. But yeah, excited to be joining with the light more again and let the darkness go.
That's a wonderful, wonderful, an actual person could see it and feel it from you.
I've met a
because-
few of them. And I've met a few of them. And when I didn't practice at all, my aura was like when I didn't do any spiritual practice, almost any, it was like purple. And then when I started to do a little bit more, it was like orange. And then, but when I'm actually joining with it, it's just this huge white light. But then my ego played around with it too, because then actually my ego decided, let's see how big I could make it. And then, yeah, so I kind of messed around and I did make it ginormous one time. And I was just like walking through this mall and this one lady, there's lots of people, I'm just like walking through. And this one lady like was just buying her groceries and she looks at me and she's just like, this like older lady. And I knew she could see it and my ego like winks at her. I stopped doing that because that's very ego, right? Playing around with it. But it was a cool little experiment. But I'd rather join with it genuinely like this. And you know, yeah.
Oh, well, see, that's still wonderful. Well, I get it. That was ego, but
It was still pretty cool, but yeah.
Isn't that wonderful? Well, see, Jesus talks about that our light touches people and we don't even know it. But
There's probably a reason for it too.
And then that may lead them to want to even Holy Spirit touch them. Like when I meditate, I'll always ask that light radiates out to touch the heart and love of every person, our public officials, everybody, to be more understanding and loving of each other, our military and all that stuff, you know, because we want to send that light out to touch people, and maybe it will change how things, but we don't know. It doesn't matter. But it touches their heart and they don't even know. So
that's
way
true.
to go,
So there certainly was a reason. Do you still have a couple more minutes? Can I share one more?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So I just had a really, really cool experience that I'm like pretty excited about. And I'm just getting sick of the pain and the ego and the judgment. So sick enough where like I really, really talked to him last night. I really spoke to him. And I went to most of my biggest like forgiveness lesson classroom right now is like with my mother. With coronavirus, we're in the same little space, right? So we're like, right? And it's getting a little intense and stuff. And but I don't want to be that way. I don't want to think hatred thoughts towards any son of God, right? And especially my dear mother. So she's Catholic, and she put a gold cross in my room, and I spoke to it last night. And there's also like this flag of Jesus next to it, like a Jesus flag thingy. And I just touched the cross, and I just like touched like his head, and I just like said, I really, really just want to like learn from you. I'm more ready now. I really want to give up. I really just be my guide. And I grabbed the flag too, and I just like, you know, and and I read the course and listened to it and all that too. And I which I don't do much, actually. I don't really read it lately. I've read it 100 times. I got the doctorate in it, so I don't need to read it. Bullshit. I need to read it and all the time. And so yeah, so today, so she can hear the Holy Spirit, especially when she shops at like thrift stores. Sometimes she'll know exactly what she needs to get for whatever reason. And today, Spirit urged her to get this picture, and I'll show it to you. But before I do, instead of having like my poker themed stuff as my backgrounds on everything, I'm like, that's not really number one. I should put something of the course on my backgrounds of everything, because that should be my primary number one, right? So, and it is. So I went and I was looking through my phone at all these backgrounds. I won't be able to show you the picture on my phone, but the picture on my phone that is my background is this. It's the exact same picture. And the Holy Spirit told her to get it. And
she got that picture for you.
the same day that I put it in my phone, and it says on the phone, "I am always with you."
Wow.
And it's the exact same picture of him.
Wow.
So I was
Well,
like,
that's confirmation that he's with you because you were praying to him. You
yeah,
want
like
to understand.
I do. And we hugged and cried, and she I forgot, but yeah.
It brought you closer, of course.
course.
Wow, that's so beautiful because there's various, it doesn't matter the picture of Jesus, it's the thought. You want to be close to him. And see, he's our elder brother, and he can guide you and help you with Holy Spirit. And I sometimes forget that I should change my forgiveness document. You call on both of them, Jesus and Holy Spirit. Wow. Way to go, Christian. Thank you for sharing all that. Thank you. Thank you. And your
Thank you.
light experiences. Continue your practice. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah. This is reaffirming it. Now, who else would like to, anyone else like to share something? This is so wonderful. Oh, now, Lynn, do you want to share something about your Lacey about I am sentence you asked her, texted that lady on your phone?
I have a relative that's going through some pretty rough times at work. And so I sent her on Monday morning when I knew she'd be at work. I sent her some hearts and I said to hang in there and to finish this sentence with good thoughts or good words. And I put, I am blank. And I sent it to her. And at the end of the day, she sent me a message back and said that had meant a lot to her, that it helped her get through the day. And she's put that I am blank on her mirror so that she can do that every morning. And good things.
See, I just love that so, Lynn, because see, Lynn and I walk, and I was talking to her about the chart, the photo of Jesus and the I am discourses, and how important it is to think about what we're saying. If we say I'm sick or I am this, we're not practicing A Course in Miracles. We got to catch our thoughts and still be guided by Holy Spirit if we visit the doctor or whatever, but we still practice forgiveness. But anyway, Lynn took it to heart because she was talking about her friend. And we talk about saying your spirit, whole pureness, all is forgiven and released. But Lynn, it came to Lynn to do that text with her about the I am and the blank to fill it in. And so it changed how this woman was thinking about her life and her job and things. So way to go, Lynn. Because see, that was very gentle way to say, catch your thoughts. Because see, that's why we're practicing A Course in Miracles. We're wanting to catch our thoughts, what we're thinking about ourselves and our brother. So way to go, everybody. Way to go. Yay. Anyone else got something they want to share? That's so powerful, all of this. Y'all are practicing. We are rubber setting the road. Yes, Troy.
Uh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I've been in this situation with my husband for 7 years, and I also have an anxiety condition. So when I got with him, it's constant crying and crying and crying and crying. So I go through, all of the different Course in Miracles statements, when I had my spiritual experience 2 or 3 weeks ago where I was starting to cry, I had one particular thing come at me from A Course in Miracles. You have the gratitude of God Himself. I don't remember the rest of the sentence, but I said that, and that stopped my crying. So, and I still have that grounded sense of peace from that. But then there are other things in a different area that I'm sending out there. Obviously, he's in my classroom, Christian, like your mother is in yours. And so the other night, I couldn't even get to sleep. I was crying so hard. We sleep in separate rooms, and my mind just goes and goes and goes, and I just constantly say, I brain strain. I strain my brain, and finally, when I said, I am the Holy Spirit's communication device. That's a bit science fiction, but I remembered somewhere, or my mind reminded me that somewhere that is my role in awakening, is that I am to be my body is to be a communication device. And my crying went away. It was 2 or 3 a.m. and my anxiety went away. And so now I just go through every day. I mean, when I'm around my husband, I remind myself I am the Holy Spirit's communication device, because Gary was able to start talking, letting the Holy Spirit talk through him when he was when he was lecturing, when he began lecturing. And I have wanted to have that power, is to say or not say the thing that this person needs to hear, rather than having my own emotions. So I say that to myself. I am Holy Spirit's communication device. And then the thing that he's been having me say to my husband in all kinds of situations, not about anything that my husband and I are dealing with, is, do you need anything? Do you need anything?
Truly
And
helpful.
that is just, yeah. So thank you for letting me share that.
Well, Troy, wait, I want you to do a little more. I forgot.
Oh.
In the course, it says we're to be truly helpful. So
Yeah.
really what Holy Spirit had you do,
Yeah.
say that to him.
I used to have that whole thing memorized. I'm here
Wow.
to be truly helpful. I can't remember the rest of it right now,
Me
but
either. Me
yeah.
either. Now let's also go back a second, because you shared something, if you don't mind sharing it again, is we want to be practical as we live here in this illusion or dream. We want to have fun. We want to be practical, and not every message we get from Holy Spirit is some holy big deal. So it's practical. He helps us live our life, like he gave her that sentence to say to her husband. So if you don't mind sharing this, and then I want to say something else about that.
I thought you would think it's too girly, or
Oh, no, it's beautiful.
talk.
No, it's
Okay.
beautiful.
So a few years ago, I was having problems with my husband, like I still do. And Dee and I, Dee had a voice share with her about how to picture her friend in the hospital instead of seeing her as sick. It was like this voice came at you, right, Dee? And told you, hey, you're not paying attention. And it just talked to you like it was a person right there in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd been having difficulties with my husband for years. And we were at one of the busiest places on earth that you can go, Disney Orlando. And right in the middle of when we were having fun, things went south, and he went into the bathroom, and he went into a public restroom by himself. And I'm talking to God in the back of my head at the same time while I'm trying to talk to my husband to calm us down. And all of a sudden, my husband shut the door of the bathroom. I turned around. I'm in the middle of huge crowd, and this voice came at me. And I looked around, because at first I thought it was coming at me from the crowd or behind me or something. But then I realized it was inside my head, and it wasn't me. And it said, "You are the best thing that ever happened to him."
Yes. See, and that made me realize, picture this, guys. You are of the, just even in this lifetime, we are each really authentic and genuine here. We are wanting to be our highest self. We're wanting to wake up from the dream and be helpful in the world. But think about any person that's around us. We're the best thing that could happen to someone. I mean, really, you're asking for Holy Spirit's guidance. I mean, I thought that was priceless. So it's not ego boosting. It's just a fact of the quality of the holiness that we're trying to achieve. That's just really sweet. Say again what he said to you. You're the best thing that ever happened to him, or something like that.
Okay, you are the best thing that ever happened to him. Now, I've heard women talk for years amongst each other. Well, you're the best, they're helping each other out. Well, you're the best thing that ever happened to him. So when I heard the Holy Spirit say, or Jesus, I think of them as one, sometimes separate, sometimes the same.
Yeah.
When I heard that, it sounded like one of my girlfriends talking to me or something. And
Yes.
it sounded
Well,
like ego. And then I realized, well, it couldn't
No.
be ego. I wasn't in control of it.
no, it
Came
wasn't.
at me. Yeah,
No,
it came at me.
whether it's male or female, or this, I truly believe, is Holy Spirit, because this is genuine. We all are trying to be genuine and helpful to our mates and people, our family and people that we're around. That's just priceless.
Yeah.
Y'all are doing a great
And
service.
I didn't feel all of a sudden like I was all that, but I felt
No.
calm and peace. So then that's
That's
how
like-
I knew, and it was a separate voice. It was not, I sometimes have trouble distinguishing ego
Yeah.
voice with Holy Spirit voice, but that
Yeah.
one definitely was.
Thank you. That was great.
That's almost like an experience that I had too, but it's like, yeah, it's like it had to be filtered through your mind. That's why it said that sentence that you were familiar with, right? But it was love.
Bye, Lynn. Well, thanks, Christian. Thank you. Thank you. Well, it's now 8:16. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and enjoy. And I'll email out about the chart. I love tonight, and we'll share more. If you have any other questions, just, email them to me or whatever, or save them for next time too. Bye,
And-
everybody. I love you. Yes.
You're going to give me and Corinne each other's emails.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to
Thank
email
you.
you too. Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye. Love you. Love you.